become much more aware of the fact that this is imminent, it is going to happen to us, and that we have to take responsibility for it. And I'm speaking on behalf of this lion in Africa, who is part of our world and who doesn't have a say in what's going to happen. And yet, we don't seem to be conscious of the fact that there are these animals who need us to be aware of their predicament. So we're asking for your time to just sit and be and reflect on the future of the Earth, because of the inevitable changes that are going to happen.
We just know by heart there's something wrong with the world. There's something not going well, which was in the past. We see lots of green world in the picture, but if we go to back in third world countries, in Bangladesh, in India, in some Malaysia and Maldives, we'll see that flooding every time, and people are just homeless, and there's no crops growing on. Yeah, there's a lot of disastrous situation. Okay, we are having climate changes, like even in USA, we are having storms regularly, hurricane. Okay, the people are just wiping out literally. We're having earthquakes. So it's like something that we are living in every day, which is a straight consequence of climate change issues, global warming, and obviously we look at the heat. It's like I can remember 2003 there was a heat wave in London. People was panicking. What was it about? The research say within 100 years the heat wave will be very common.
If it was my dream come true in 2012, then all the people who are now greedy would stop being so greedy, because that's part of the problem. And all the people that have any money will only invest in green energy like wind power and hydropower and all those things that technology is going to discover. And, you know, we can all stop using oil and plastic.
You hear a lot of these programs about producing ethanol to put in cars and things like that. But if you get the ethanol from maize, for example, as they do in the United States, then what people don't look at is the coal trucks, which come back in the back of the plants, which they use actually to distill off the alcohol. So really the total, what they call net energy gain, is very negative.
Something that affects every single person. It's our rights as human beings, our right to live, our right to breathe, our right to express. There's so many things, and even before we get into just the basic manifesto, so I guess that the key thing to understand from it is not to see it as something unapproachable, to see it as something that's relevant to all of us, and that we can all engage with, and we do all engage with anyway. So to bring it back to what I was doing today, and what the festival here is about, is really about celebrating different cultures and also integrating different cultures and creating a sense of home. And I don't just mean home as in where you live, because home is really about more than that.
I think the environment in terms of pollution is the key problems that we have now, and it's affecting a lot of people. The dry season is affecting a lot of people, especially from African countries where there's no rain for like 4 or 5 years, and that's killing a lot of animals, and people are losing their livelihood. One point is a collective togetherness, which means we have to educate people. The effect of pollutions, which means that we have to do our little bit individually, but as well as awareness of how we're actually affecting the global warming and what we can do for each other. I think being responsible individually is the key that we can reduce the pollution.
Our planet, which made it wobble, and it still wobbles to this day, which is one of the and the moon has kind of helped the wobble to stabilise, but also that gave us the iron core, which gave us the north and south poles, which are going to follow. But also what that means is it deflects all the electromagnetism from the sun with it. and without that, life wouldn't be able to exist. It's only the iron core inside that deflects all this energy.
It is all about the impacts of global warming. That's my opinion, and we should really think positive, strongly about climate change and how we can tackle it. Whatever we can do, however we can do, it may be a small bit, but if we all work together and do our own bit, I think we can. We are a big community. We can work together.
You have to ask people individually to take responsibility for the environment, but also I think that people need to ask, I don't know, business people to have responsibility over the issue as well. Yeah, I can recycle as many bags, plastic bags as I can. Take personal responsibility. Stop thinking that the government is going to solve it for you. Just take personal responsibility and start recycling yourself within your own community and start just spreading the word.
A lot of people talking about organic farming. I'm in total agreement with minimizing use of pesticides and things like that. But when you start talking about reducing nitrogen fertilizer and things like that because it's artificial, it's made by man, although urea, for example, is a perfectly natural product. Urea was actually the first of the organic compounds synthesized by man, by Waller, many years ago. And so to start saying you can't use these things is going to make it very difficult, and particularly in the developing countries, to raise their agricultural productivity to the levels where they can actually feed their population. So you have to make a very big choice between having what is deemed organic and environmentally sound and what is required to feed people.